Hey folks, welcome to Elemental Cartomancy. We are now live. Um, Thanks so much for joining me. I realise that this isn't my usual day, so I really appreciate all of you lovely folks that have taken time out of your usual Wednesday evening to join us and come live with us and chat with us. So I am joined by the lovely Malumir, who is the creatrix of the Cat Aura Tarot and Chakra Healing Tarot. Now, Malumir is going to be coming to us as this lovely, ethereal, heavenly voice because, well, I'll let Malumir say hi. Hi, Malumir.
Hello, and that's very kind. I don't know how ethereal my voice is, though.
So I've got the banner streaming along the bottom because I'm conscious that people might pop in and out. We might have some people popping in just randomly to see what's happening, and they might think either I'm a really good ventriloquist, or that it might seem a bit suspicious. So yeah, Malumir's going to be joining us by audio only, and we're going to be having a wee chat about. I was going to say the cat or a tarot. So, do you prefer cat or a tarot, the cat or a tarot? Are you particular about how we say it? Like,
It's however you prefer. It is the cat aura tarot. It is cat aura tarot. It is all these things. So however you'd like to refer to it. Honestly, I'm just really excited that it worked out that abbreviated. It's cat, all caps.
cat, all caps.
Yes.
That again?
Oh, it looks like the internet may be freezing up a bit. Hopefully, you can still hear me. Yes,
I can
it
still hear
is.
you perfectly. I just think it's my brain rather than anything else.
Oh, yeah. So
So
cat
go-
aura tarot. Yeah, if you abbreviate it, the cat aura tarot abbreviates to cat, all caps. CAT.
or CAT cat
Yeah.
or tarot. I did not realize that until you just said that.
It is very
Wow.
exciting. I got a little bit nerdy and excited about it when I realized that, and I think it's way cooler than CHT from Chakra Healing Tarot, which it does not really abbreviate to anything. But there you go, cat.
Right, brilliant. I've just seen a message from Simon that says that I'm frozen. So Simon, can you just let me know if I'm unfrozen, if I'm okay? Or can someone else let me know? Am I frozen or am I showing up okay? Or I can't actually see that it's saying my connection is unstable. So what I'm going to do just before we properly kick off, I'm going to send a wee message to my lovely husband and make sure that he's not downloading the entire internet whilst I'm live. Not that he would ever do that, but uh, do, do, do.
It was just all that initial energy, Chris. Just between the two of us, we just have so much energy. And now, you combine it with all those cats in that deck, it's just overpowering.
Yeah, people are saying wee bit pixelated. It's a bit grainy, unfrozen, but still a bit fuzzy. Right? Okay. I think it's just my internet, folks. There was a wee symbol that came up the top just to let me know that my signal wasn't the best. It's now gone away, so I'm hoping that, like Malamir says, it was just all that brilliant energy that was just messing with our internet waves, and that it's now stopped. I've sent a WhatsApp message to tech support downstairs to make sure that he's not hogging the bandwidth, and hopefully we should be fine. So, so, we are here to discuss the Cat Aura Tarot. So I'm really excited that I get to chat to you about this, Malamir, because we did this same thing for your first deck, the Chakra Healing Tarot.
Yes.
So this is nice, and I can't believe how long ago that was. What was that, like over 2 years ago now that we did
Yeah,
this?
that was, I'd say it's over 2.5 years ago now. Yeah, it was over two
Wow,
and a half years ago. Time flies, right?
it does. Yeah, 2.5 years that you've been having to put up with me.
It's
That's
always a pleasure. I appreciate you, Chris. I appreciate having you in my life.
and same to you. So tell us about Cat or a Tarot. So just give us a little flavour. What was it that inspired you? Give us a wee bit of an intro into it.
Absolutely. So, Cat or Tarot was not actually the deck that I was going to create next because naturally, as a creatrix, I always have ideas in my head of things that I want to create. And, but this is the deck that wouldn't leave me alone. It just, these cats really, really wanted to come into the world. And, I would say it was even from, a couple years ago up to about 18 months ago, this deck was it was in my head and I just couldn't stop thinking about it, and I kept trying to make myself write descriptions for the other deck that I was going to create, and it just felt like that other deck wasn't flowing, and I just kept thinking of this cat deck, and I kept talking about it incessantly, and finally my husband said, why don't you just create the cat deck? Like, you really seem to be talking about it a lot, and you seem really excited about it. Maybe you should just create it. And then it was a real aha moment for me. And, maybe looking back, it seemed kind of obvious, but I think that, I can sometimes get a bit of hyper focus. And I was so set, I was going to do this other deck next. But these cats just demanded to come into the world. So, uh, as some folks may know, or maybe you may not be aware, I am a cat mom. I've been a cat mom for a long time. I absolutely love cats. Um, and I mean, I love dogs too. Don't get me wrong. I do have a little Chihuahua, but I've had the pleasure of taking care of many cats in my lifetime, and there's just something magical about their energy, and in so many ways, I think we can learn a lot from cats, right? They know exactly what they want and what they need. They know what they observe. And, a relationship with a cat, that's earned. That's earned. And I think that we can just learn so much from them. They are curious and they're adventurous, and they're so in touch with their emotions. They see energy, right? They really react to energy around them. And there's also just so much capacity for love and loyalty and learning, and I find them so inspiring. And so also, they have very strong boundaries, such as, no, you're not going to create that other deck. You're going to create this deck that we're in. So that was the inspiration for creating Cat Aura Tarot. But, just like with Chakra Healing Tarot, I am a Reiki master. I have experience as a tarot reader, and I really still wanted to make sure that this would be a deck that would be supportive of people, that would be supportive of people connecting with themselves, of working with their own energy bodies, of trusting themselves more. And so I wanted to incorporate that chakra and aura perspective into the world of these cats.
Wow, that's amazing. Um, and tell us, so just for those that that maybe don't know or aren't familiar with your first deck, tell us tell us about the artist. Tell us a bit about that, if that's okay.
Yes, absolutely. So my first deck, Chakra Healing Tarot, um, when I started creating that deck, I mean, although I love art and I love creating art and other things, I knew that I just did not have the level of skill required to create the worlds and all these images that I had dancing through my head. I knew that I didn't. And so I set an intention to the universe that just the right artist, that I would find just the right artist who would be open to working with me on creating this. And I did. I found the amazing artist, Ella Mazur, or EC Mazur. She created the art for the first tarot deck. And when I had finished the descriptions for this second deck for Cat Aura Tarot, I was actually really worried that she wouldn't wouldn't take me on as a client again. And not because like we have a lovely working relationship, but you know, a tarot deck is an immense project, right? Not only is it 78 pieces of art, but there's also other pieces that need to be created. There is the box, there's the guidebook. And that is a huge commitment for any artist, especially an artist like Ella, who is, you know, she's successful, she's busy, and she has a lot of other projects on the go. And so I was just so grateful and honored that she was willing to take on this project. And I think she's done such a beautiful job in bringing my vision to life in this deck.
Yeah, she really has. Honestly, look, she's done it again, or you've both done it again. Let's be fair. It really is an absolute stunner. So folks in the chat, I'm going to go down and say hi to everyone. Just in case you think that I'm forgetting you, I'm not. I thought I would let people pile in first and have a quick chat with Malumir, and then we'll go down and say hi to people. But what we're going to do is I've got a prototype of the deck here. We're going to like have a chat about each of the cards, have a flip through. I think the aim for Malumir and I is to definitely get through the majors, and then we'll see how we're doing for time and stuff like that. So let me just go down the chat and we'll say hi to everyone. The first thing I want to say though, I did see a message from the lovely Aurora Starcy. So Aurora says that Friday coming marks the first anniversary of her mum's passing. So Aurora, I just wanted to send lots of love and sympathy, and you know, I'll be thinking about you on Friday. I hope that it's as smooth a day and as easy a day as it can be, you know. But I know that it's going to be a difficult one.
And also, and Aurora, I mean, I'm sure, you know, people always, you know, have lots of advice and lots of things to say. You know, I would just say my blessing for you is that, you know, may you allow yourself to feel whatever you need to feel. And, you know, it's okay to feel whatever you need to feel. And it doesn't matter what that looks like. Okay. So I just really hope you give yourself that permission.
Yeah. First in was our lovely Simon from the Hermit's Cave. And just a quick plug, I'm going live with Simon tomorrow. Simon and I are going jointly live, and we're going to be throwing back to the Morgan Greer Tarot. So, hi Simon, hope you're doing okay. We've got Red Wings here. Hi Red Wing. Lynn Hayes is here, says hi Chris and Malumir. Can't wait for this deck. I hope you're feeling better, Malumir. It's so nice to meet you.
Thank you. That's very kind.
Lovely Stephanie Burrows is here. And we have Deanne from Blue Crescent Tarot. Hi, Deanne. We've got, oh dear, that's a long name. Let me say it in my head first, and then I'll try and say it out loud. Ziggy Bobinator. That's what I'm going with.
I think you got it.
So Ziggy says, hi Malumir. Shaking, supportive, cheerleading pom-poms. Let's see.
I would expect nothing less. Thank you for being
here. Aurora, we've already said hi to Aurora. Let's see, that was when I was having a bit of a moment, going pixelated. This is where we need that kind of like elevator hold music whilst I process the comments and see if there's anything that I need to
well,
say.
Don't look at me. I'm not about to start singing. We want to encourage people to stay on and enjoy the live, not run away.
I was just going to say, I will not be singing for that reason. Naomi's here. Hi, Naomi. It's lovely to see you.
And also, just to clarify while you're reading, Chris, to clarify for folks, if you have a comment that you put in the chat to me, I'm going to be relying on Chris to read it out to me. I'm just dealing with some medical stuff right now, and reading makes it worse. So just so folks are aware, I'm not ignoring you. If you write something in the chat and I don't respond, I'm not ignoring you. I just need Chris to read it out for me.
Yeah. So we're relying on me, folks. So we'll see how we get on. But take the expectations from here and maybe pop them down about here, and that way you might be pleasantly surprised, but you won't be disappointed. Simon says back. Sorry, annoyingly, someone called just after you started. How very dare. How very dare indeed.
I love it.
Right. Shall we turn on the table camera and start having a look at
Let's
some of
do
these
it.
lovely cards? So is there anything that you want to convey to people just generally about the, the card stock, all those kind of
Yes.
techie specifications type things?
Totally. So, so just for clarity, folks, what you're looking at here that Chris has, this is just a prototype. Okay, so this is not the final, which means that that I did not use the printer that I will be using. And if you watched Simon's walkthrough of the deck, this is also something that Simon covered because. Because it's just a prototype, it was really just a case of, okay, let's actually look at this physically. Let's go through it and see how the coloration is looking. Let's make sure everything is as expected. What it does mean is that there's one typo in the deck. We'll talk about that. One of the cards was mislabeled. We've already corrected that in the finals. And as well as there's a couple minor tweaks here and there. For example, in the Chariot card, which we'll cover, the moons will actually be flipped around the opposite direction, the way that they're facing now, as well as some of the cards. And it may just be that this is a make playing cards thing, but some of the coloration is quite dark. And so what we've done is we've revised those colors to be brighter to make things clearer. So I just want to be clear about that. And I'll as we go through it, I'll just point out some things here or there. But this is exactly the purpose of a prototype, is to catch those kinds of things and see what it looks like when it's actually printed. But the cardstock and all of the other logistics, I will be using the same printer that I use for Chakra Healing Tarot. And I received overwhelming feedback that people loved the cardstock from Chakra Healing Tarot, that it was very shuffleable, if that's a word. Yeah, Chris is showing it there. People love how it shuffles. They love the finish. They love the colors, and I've gotten really great feedback about the box. People really liked how sturdy the box is, and people loved how hefty the guidebook was. And I'm going a little fast because Chris is showing the yes, he's showing the box. So we're doing the same design again. As well as the guidebook, which is the same length, same chunkiness as the first deck.
Yeah, the guidebook was perfect. Like, it's by no means a little white book, but it fits in with the deck. But when you look at actually the amount of information that we're getting for each of these cards, it's fantastic. But we're not really here to talk about chakra healing, although I do love a good opportunity to talk about chakra healing. So yeah, in Make Playing Cards speak, I believe this is Make Playing Cards smooth cardstock. You
Yes, it was.
maybe correct me if I'm wrong. It's size-wise, it doesn't really matter because this is a prototype, but size-wise, it's just about your kind of a US Gamesy type size. What might be better is I'll show you the Chakra Healing. That actually looks as though that's about the same as the prototype. So, yeah, size-wise, we're talking about US games. As Malumir says, the Chakra Healing and therefore the Cat Aura, beautiful, smooth, matte, like cardstock, and Malumir knows that I'm a riffle shuffler. I had to stop myself because I almost went to riffle the Chakra Healing Tarot, which I put in order specifically for this, just in case I want to grab one of the cards. So I didn't. But yeah. Okay. So we start off with I wanted to quickly say there was a comment that I saw. So Maria Campbell Jones says, I love Malumir and have been using her deck in my biofield tuning practice. Hi Malumir, hope you're doing well.
Oh,
So I just wanted to
yay.
quickly highlight that.
Oh, Maria, that's so nice. I'm so glad you were able to join. And, it always warms my heart to hear of energy workers also using the deck, because it really is really helpful. And that was part of why I wanted to create, the first deck and the second deck, to be really clear about which element of the energy body you're working with. It's just a really great, quick kind of point in time check-in that you can provide to your healing services.
Yeah. There was something else that caught my eye there as well. Oh, Kristen's here. And Kristen says, I pre-ordered this deck. I am a cat person, but I have no cat decks. None have interested me before. So there we go, Malumir. Your deck has turned Kristen onto cat decks.
Oh, that's lovely. That's such an honor.
Okay. So we have the full here.
Yes.
Now, do we want to talk about the sparkles, or?
Yeah, we can chat about that. And also, just to point out, so it'll be easier to see once you have it in person, but there's actually a very gentle glowing aura around the cats. So I'm not sure if you're able to see it can you see that there's like a soft rainbow aura glow all around the cat? And that is to indicate that that all of the so let me just actually back up for one moment. So just to talk about what the aura is, your aura is like the energetic, it's the energetic electromagnetic field that goes around your body. Okay. So you think of the chakras as the batteries to your energy body, and the aura extends beyond your physical body. So some people can see them with their physical eyes. Other people can just sense and feel them. But in this deck, they are surrounding the cats with a glowing light, and they're in the colors that relate to the chakras corresponding to the card. So basically, the health of your given chakras is reflected in the color of your aura. Sorry, Chris, I forgot to say that earlier.
That's okay. That's all right. Just so those of you that are familiar with the Chakra Healing Tarot will know that each card has usually one or two, but with certain major cards, all seven chakras kind of are highlighted, accented, activated. So for example, this is the full in the chakra healing, and as we can see, all seven chakras are shown in the full card, and to correspond with that, in the full card in the cat aura, the sparkles are sparkle. Is that okay to call them that? Or
so there's both. Yeah, there's both a glowing aura as well as sparkles. Yeah, it's both. We've incorporated both because I cannot get enough magic.
Brilliant. So they take on the so we see all seven chakra colors and the aura and the sparkles. Okay, so it links to the chakra healing and to the chakras in general in that way. Okay, so that's just a little something about the deck and that we see throughout the deck. And Malumir, I think they are, but you can confirm this for me. Are the chakra correspondences in each of the cards, do they match each of the cards in the Chakra Healing Tarot?
They do. They do. Thank you for asking. Yes, they do match because that was actually a system that it took me months to develop that system back when I was creating Chakra Healing Tarot. And so it is a really a well-structured system. I've got a whole blog post about it on my website for people who are curious about how I did that. But the short version is that it combines the seven chakra system, which is a system that I was trained with in my Reiki lineage with the Kabbalistic tree of life. It combines those two into a specific system. But you know what? You don't have to worry about whether or not you know which chakra or an aura is referred to in each card, because the guidebook will tell you exactly which chakras and aura colors relate to which card. So people don't have to worry about that.
Cool. Excellent. Okay, so our lovely guests have had the chance to have a look at the full card for quite a while now. Now, is there
Yes.
anything else we want to say about the full card before we move on?
No, we can keep moving if you'd like. Yeah.
Okay. I just love I think you've probably heard me saying this about maybe like 5 million times now, but I love when water is depicted really well in art.
Yes.
And I just love this this river that we
Oh,
see depicted
thank
here. I
you.
think it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, Ella did an amazing job. She really did
Yeah.
an amazing job. And actually, a little secret that I'll share with you folks, and you're getting to hear it first. I haven't even told anyone else. There will also be an alternate Fool card. So for folks who are really into tarot and are familiar with RWS, you know that there's a little dog often that shows up in the Fool card. Well, folks may also know that I have a tiny little dog. In fact, a dog that is 3 times smaller than my very large Maine Coon. So there will be a surprise little alternate Fool card that also features a tiny little Chihuahua in it. The cat is still there because the cat is the main character, but there will be a little Fool's dog accompanying the cat. So you heard it here
Gabriel
first.
card.
Yeah.
Oh, oh, that would be cute. I know what one I'll be using.
Can I just say about the magician card? This was another one of those cards where we caught a couple of things. So specifically that magical orb that you see the magician is working with will be a little bit higher up. And also this cat was actually missing its aura. It has the sparkles, but it was missing the aura. So we've added that.
Oh, okay. Okay. Interesting. Cool. I love this, these white roses in this
Yes,
archway.
they are white roses.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yes,
really, really nice.
because, and just for people who maybe cat people and may be concerned, anytime that there are plants or flowers that the cats are interacting with, they are plants that are safe for cats. So roses, for example. Well, because, like in the standard magician card from the RWS, there's lilies and roses, but lilies are actually, it can be fatal. They're very poisonous to cats. So lilies do not feature in this deck.
Oh, wow. I didn't actually know that. I've actually got lilies. I really struggle saying that word. I've got lilies in my garden, so I have. Obviously, I don't have cats, so I'm fine, but I didn't realise that.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, shall we move on to the
Yes.
High Priestess? Do you know we've not actually shown Malumir, which might have been a good thing to show?
Oh, the card back? I just realized that
too. So these are the card backs. As you can see, they are fully reversible.
Yes, they are.
They're beautiful as well.
Yes, we went through, I think it was no fewer than, was it 8 or 9 iterations of the card back. Ella was very patient with me. Usually I usually rarely need to go back and forth like that. But, she was very great in offering me various options just so we could get a sense of, how the various colors played together. But this was the one.
Yeah. It's stunning. I just like even like kind of what all the individual cats are doing. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just really cute. Just quickly, what was it? So Aurora says the Egyptian goddess Bastet just came to mind. Did she guide you in any way, Malumir?
That's a great question. Although I don't work directly with Bastet, I do my own spiritual practice is pretty eclectic, and I am always very open to the loving energy that exists in the universe. And so although I did not work directly with Bastet, I do have this lovely, I love working with oils as well. I have this oil that is in honor of cats. It honors cat energy. And I believe that the creator of that does engage with Bastet. So I didn't directly engage, but certainly there is a great deal of very loving and powerful cat energy in this deck.
Brilliant. Ziggy says I pre-ordered the deck too. I have a cat Marseille deck, but I haven't worked with it in a long time. Or no, I haven't worked with it a lot yet. Sorry. I was fortunate to be gifted the Chakra Healing Tarot. Both decks will work well together. Yeah, I agree. I'm looking forward to. Well, I say I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to getting the, the fully fledged Gabriel Cat Aura Tarot. But obviously, I've got a copy of the prototype, but I'm excited to work with them both together. Because I agree, I think they'll both work really well. Stephanie is also pre-ordered. Very excited to receive it.
Yay!
So lots of love for the deck here.
Oh, that's so
which I'm
lovely.
excited about.
That warms my heart.
Yeah.
Oh, and actually, while we're just on the High Priestess, something that is going to be different about the guidebook this time from Chakra Healing Tarot. So for Chakra Healing Tarot, it was human characters. And, because it's human characters, they're in situations that humans will be in. But because this is Cat Aura Tarot, these cats may be, physically in positions that otherwise humans might not be. And so the difference with the guidebook is that I've included a brief description of the art for each card descriptions. So for example, for the High Priestess, it will tell you that this cat is sitting on a scroll at the base of a pomegranate tree, right? Because otherwise we may not realize that that's a pomegranate tree, but it is a pomegranate tree in this very, sacred space under this night sky. So I just thought I would point that out as well. And I mean, check out this High Priestess, right? Because a High Priestess has that really intense, very grounded energy. And look at that cat's face. This is a cat who knows their stuff.
Yeah. So this really kind of touches my heart, this card, because, so folks, I've spoken to Malumir for quite a while now. Me and Malumir chat every so often on on Messenger and stuff, and I remember Malumir would send me pictures of like tarot readings that she was doing for herself. And one of her cats, without fail, every time Malumir tried to pull out the cards, would jump up and sit on her spread, and it'll be like, right, well, that'll be me. That'll be my reading done then. Thank you. And that's because this cat is the High Priestess, and because it's sitting on the scroll. It just kind of I don't know, it just makes me think of that. So I think that's really, really beautiful and really appropriate for the High Priestess, but only because I know that wee story. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I mean, anyone who shares a home with a cat will know that, if there's something different on the floor, like a book or a sheet of paper, or say, a tarot spread, they will go and they will sit on it. Some more than others. My Eli, who I lost last year, he loved tarot cards. He wouldn't lie on top of my journals very much. He wouldn't lie on sheets of paper. But if I got out tarot cards of any sort, he would spread himself out across them. And I would just, like as Chris said, I would be sitting there waiting because, of course, he was not movable. You understand, right? Not movable. And so I would just patiently wait for him to shift and move. And sometimes I would pull them out from under him. These are things that cat parents will resonate with.
Yeah. Folks, I'm realizing that when the cards are just lying flat on the table like that, the camera's not picking up the colours as well as when I kind of hold them up and hold them a bit closer. So if you're wondering why I'm doing that, and I know some people don't like it when I hold the cards because I'm not the best at keeping them still, but I'm doing that so that you can see the colours better and appreciate them a bit better. And as Malamir's already pointed out, just bear in mind that when you because of the different card stock, I feel as though this card stock shows up colours in a different way than what this does anyway, because this is a
Yes.
bit more gloss.
Yes.
But bear in mind that, some of the cards, the colours will, the tones and the contrast of them will be changed. So anyway, yeah, I just wanted to explain why I was doing that.
Yeah, thank you for doing that, Chris, because you're right. The color, and I'm definitely noted, and this is something I was discussing with Ella, the artist, is that the way that the color shows up on this cardstock is quite different. And I'm not bashing the cardstock by any means whatsoever. It's just, because we have calibrated the colors for the other cardstock. Some of them are showing up less as a bit less vibrant than they would on the final cardstock.
Yeah. Beautiful. So I know this because I think I've read it in the description on your website, but I've just kind of remembered it because I've seen it like on the majors. They all have this kind of a sacred temple type background. Is that the right way to say it?
Yes. So I've really thought through the worlds that these cats find themselves in. And really, it's one world, but they're in different parts of it. So the majors, they all exist in ancient temple ruins that have been long abandoned by humans. So the cats have fully taken over. It is their space. And the wands are in a sacred grotto. So grottos are, if you're not familiar, it's like caves and caverns that have lots of access to light and are often near water. But you can see, Chris is flipping through so that the wands are in the grottos. As for the chalices, and I do chalices instead of cups, but same thing. The chalices all take place near water, so they're gently flowing streams, other bodies of water, little babbling brooks, and so forth. For the swords, there are expansive views of the sky. So the swords are not. I mean, these. The cats, I didn't want to, in Chakra Healing Tarot, I created a kingdom in the clouds, but these are cats, right? The cats are not going to hang out in clouds. The cats want to have lots of environments to play in. So I've made sure that the sky really features strongly in the swords suit to reflect the air element. And then for the pentacles, these are very earthy and very, very much in these meadows and forests and these little groves. So they all have their lovely place in this beautiful little universe.
Brilliant. Absolutely stunning. And folks, just talk amongst yourselves whilst I now try and frantically put my deck back together in order because that was that wasn't the smartest idea that I've ever had, but right, I think we're good.
I
think we're okay.
I appreciate it, Chris. Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, we had the Empress.
Yes.
And is there anything left to say about that?
Well, just that, the Empress, I'm showing here that, you can see that this adult cat is snuggling with a kitten and a bunny and a duck, just to show that, we can nurture all parts of ourselves, even the parts that we may not always recognize, and that there's room for everyone at the table.
Yeah, definitely. And I know lots of us like to think of the Empress as a very earthy card. I don't know if this was intentional, Malumir, but it's cool to see that actually the Empress card, as much as we do, obviously it's a major and it has the sacred temple in the background, it is also very meadowy and earthy.
Yes.
So it's in keeping with that kind of that theme.
The Venus energy.
Yeah. Oh, our Emperor card.
Yes.
Absolutely beautiful clouds and sky that we see here.
Yeah. It really pulls in that kind of that intense swagger that, you know, that sometimes we all need. We all need that swagger sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. We've got our Hierophant card.
Yes. So we again, in case folks aren't able to see it, the Hierophant is sitting on divination cards. Those are divination cards it's sitting
Hmm,
on.
uh-huh.
And the two black cats are, of course, sitting on a book, because where else would they sit?
Yeah, quite
That's
right.
still, you know, still calling on that that kind of traditional RWS Hierophant imagery.
Yeah. And just as just as the cat sitting on the book is like, you will read this book when I'm good and ready for you to read this book on
Exactly.
my terms and
Yep.
not your own. Who do you think you are?
Yeah.
It pulls on that Hierophant energy where it's passing it, it's passing down that knowledge. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's definitely pretty cool. Um, if we move on to the lovers, that's
Yes.
quite sweet. Tell us about this card.
Yes. So the lovers card. So when I was talking about, so you know, and just to be clear, we did not use AI for this deck at all. This was made with descriptions and an artist doing the entire art process. I actually created a few, images that just showed the art process, and so I was talking about how, you know, the description was to show, you know, two cats that were snuggling at the other end of a bridge with an archway of trees. And one of the cats is snuggled in with its eyes closed, and the other cat has its eyes open and is looking at the bird. And this is to kind of hail, you know, in a subtle way to the RWS lovers card, where, you know, where's everyone's attention, right? And I think that it's the lovers card can so often remind us to ask where our own attention is, right? So
Yeah,
anyway, yes, but it's also just a really lush, lovely, beautiful card.
yeah, it is. It's beautiful. I love the way the trees are made, the archway. Um, yeah, stunning. Um, the chariot,
Yes.
beautiful colors in this card.
Thank you. So this is the one where the moons they will be reversed the other way. So they'll be facing yes, the little crescent moons on the wood. Yeah. So they'll be
Yeah.
facing the opposite direction.
Uh-huh.
But you can see our cat is accompanied here by two koi fish.
Mm, yeah, I see it right enough. So they're here in the water. And I don't know what my tarot interpretive brain thinks of this right now, but there's something quite nice about how we've gone from the archways made by the trees, the kind of a organic, natural
Mhm.
archway, and then we've switched in the chariot card to these very kind of a manufactured, beautiful nonetheless, but like kind of a architect, manufactured archways.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that given time to kind of a mull over that, I'm going to make associations with that. But it's just something that kind of pulled my attention there that I wanted to point out.
Yes, and I mean that is actually a really good point, and something that I think folks will notice in this deck. So I think that tarot is, in so many ways, it's a portal to ourselves. It's a portal to our higher knowledge. It's a portal to other ways of knowing. It's a portal to deeper connection with ourselves. And so folks will notice there's a lot of imagery that reflects that kind of archway, pathway, door, portal kind of energy, because that feels really important to me.
Yeah, cool. I just wanted to say some more quick hellos, if that's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. Go for it.
Since we've reached the end of the first, was it septenary? Is that what we call it in the tarot? This groups of seven. So Ange D is here. Hi Ange. She says hello from Montreal. It's been a long time and happy to see your beautiful cards. And Ange also said, my Prieston loves to sit on my tarot spreads,
Yeah.
or lay down on them whilst I'm doing a reading.
Hmm.
Let's see. Ziggy says cats being in positions that humans don't do. I'd love to have a flexible cat spine.
Right.
Yeah. My lovely friend Robbie has popped in to say hi. So Robbie was over just earlier, so I'm hoping that means that you've got home okay, Robbie. And this is my equivalent of your "that's me home okay" text. Um, but yeah, thanks for popping in and saying hi. And Aurora sees the yin and yang,
That's right.
kind of a and the koi fish. So
Yes.
beautiful. Uh, Next we have the strength card.
So this is a
So
bit of a
oh
different, yeah, this is different imagery than some people might be used to. But if you actually look at it closely, where how Chris is pointing out here, yes, we have this cat who is all snuggled up with a little parakeet. And those are orchids. Orchids are cat safe. And and so I think here, because they're on an archway, and I just talked about portals and pathways and doorways, and I think the strength card is one that um I think sometimes we can look at it as, well, um it's about controlling those natural urges, and sure, some of that is there, but there's a lot more to the strength card than that. Sometimes the strength card means knowing when we need to take different action, right? It's not just always about internal self-discipline or just being strong. Sometimes, being strong and really loving ourselves and pulling on that energy of the 8 is to take action and move forward. And so I really wanted to speak to that by showing a pathway as well. And it felt like, to show them with the orchids, putting them onto an archway was a way to do that.
yeah, yeah, it's beautiful. The strength, I often think, is you know it can be about different types of strength, but paired with the wisdom of how to use that, the wisdom of knowing how to use that strength. Does that make sense to say?
Mm-hmm.
So quite often, that for me, that's something that the strength card is telling me. It's like it's a horrible expression, but it's the whole like don't try and swat a fly with a sledgehammer type thing. It's like it's not all about the strength that you have. It's about having the wisdom to know how to apply that strength.
Yes.
You know, um, so it's quite apt and it's beautiful to see. We see the cat sitting with the parakeet, or the budgie. I say budgie because it looks like my wee budgie Oscar, who we lost a couple of days before Christmas last year. I had him for like 11 years, believe it or
Oh,
not. Did you know that budgies could live so long? But yeah, he looks exactly like him with us. But yeah,
oh, I'm
like
so glad, Chris. You have a little,
yeah,
a lovely card to honor him.
yeah. Um, so yeah, we have where birds are normally kind of a prey for cats, but the cat is using its strength wisely. I guess it knows that it doesn't necessarily need to go for the budgie, because it's applying its strength and using it in a wise way. I suppose
Yeah,
that's just how I would see that.
exactly. And the
But
cat is snuggling in with the bird. They're buddies.
yeah, yeah. Beautiful purple on those orchids as well. I don't know,
Yeah.
Simon, if you're still here, but those beautiful purple orchids. I know that's right up your street. Simon loves purple. Um, the next card is the Hermit card.
Yes. Our lovely hermit. And if you can see even the star on the inside of the lantern, it's not just randomly lit. There is the star inside the lantern, but I wanted to pull on this idea of so with the hermit, the idea of space and perspective and sometimes being a hermit can mean feeling a bit like an outsider or an outcast, but it can also be space for deep reflection and alignment. In that deep reflection and time to ourselves, we also find very deep alignment, which is powerful and flowing. And so the waterfall kind of speaks to that in this really magical nighttime landscape. It's like those waters of intuition and knowledge, all combined with this ancient sacred space.
Yeah, yeah, it's beautiful. Like we as people, we see different aspects of ourselves. We use and we kind of see different aspects of ourselves when we're maybe with other people and bouncing off other people. We might have like one aspect of ourselves that comes out then, and that might be quite different to the part of ourselves that comes out when we are just on our own. And it's quite often it can be difficult to love and to I suppose appreciate and be comfortable with all of those different aspects of yourself. And I suppose the hermit is, that, and we see it beautifully in this cat. It's just kind of a fully appreciating and loving that part of itself that comes out when it is kind of on its own, and just learning to be kind of comfortable with that aspect of yourself. I feel as though I've said
Yes.
that the word aspect far too much there, but
No, I
I'm
love
hoping
it.
that nonetheless my point came across.
Yeah.
Um, but another thing that I love about this card is that it's at night. I like for a hermit card to happen at night because I am very much I put my major arcana into two halves. And I like to think of like the hermit as like when the fool's coming to the end of that first part, that first part of their journey. Um, and almost like looking back and reflecting over what's happened before. That very hermit reflective kind of a phase. Um, so given that it is coming to the end and getting ready for like the turn of a new day, or the turn of the wheel,
Yeah.
um, I do like my hermit cards to be at night. So I just want to point that out as well, that we've got a
Lovely.
beautiful starry night sky there.
I'm so glad it resonates.
Um, Definitely. We then have the wheel.
Yes. So this wheel, I wanted it to be designed as an homage to Asian money. So for some folks who know, I'm mixed, and part of my heritage is Chinese, and so for me, this that kind of coin, it's often associated with ideas of luck and fortune. But as we know, the idea of luck and fortune can be very external, right? Like we're waiting for external forces to happen. And so it kind of speaks to that external force element of the wheel. But there's also the element of when we're facing external forces, we can't always control what happens, of course, but we can absolutely choose how we respond in the face of circumstances. And also, we have the power to do little things that can also change some of the circumstances in our lives. And so you see here, you've got one cat just hanging out, sitting in the middle, distracted by the cat at the top, who's just going about its own business and adventuring. And then we have a very mischievous little cat at the bottom who is about to spin the wheel. So trying to pick up on all those pieces. And of course, this
Yeah,
one refers to all of the chakras.
yeah, it's beautiful. And it's, yeah, controlling the controllables, isn't it? Recognizing what aspects are controllable and what aspects aren't, and saying, right, okay, what can I control about this situation? If I fall into the river, I can't control the waves, I can't control the water, I can't just part the water and walk out. I can, however, control how I react. I can swim out.
Yep.
Maybe even I can like preempt that I'm going to be walking beside the river and I can wear waterproofs or something like that,
Yeah.
or do
Exactly.
something to better enable me to handle that situation.
Yeah.
But there is no way, unfortunately, it'd be really cool to have that power, but there's no way I'm going to be able to part those waves, right? So there's no point in me trying to do so, you know? And for me, that's kind of the message of the wheel. It's like recognize about what about the situation is controllable, what can you take control of, and what do
Yes.
you just have nothing to do with,
Yeah.
and use that information to deal with the situation accordingly.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
I mean, like, there's a lot going on in this card to reflect that, right? So let's say that our mischievous cat does spin the wheel. The cat on the top actually has the option to pick up speed, right? That cat can pick up speed and still stay at the top of the wheel. The cat on the inside is going to have to make a choice, right? They're going to have to, because sometimes the best option is to leave a situation that is no longer serving us. And, so maybe that cat can try to, frolic along on the inside, but it's probably going to be more bumpy than for the cat on the smooth surface of the wheel. And so maybe that cat just needs to jump out. And then, in terms of your wearing rubber boots, preventative measures, maybe someone needs to have a word with that mischievous cat on the ground.
Definitely. Just whilst I see it, Aurora is away for a cat nap. So
Enjoy.
bye, Aurora. We do have some of our people from the UK who are kind of signing off. They're going to bed, but plan on watching the rest back later. So night night,
Lovely.
folks. Have a good sleep, and we'll catch you all next time.
And thanks for joining UK, folks. It is late in the evening for you.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, justice.
Justice, yes. So
this is beautiful.
we have there is an homage to speaking of Bastet, there is an homage to some Egyptian mythology here in terms of the seesaw and how the cat does not outweigh the ostrich feather. And just other little details to pay attention to. You can see in the stone wall behind the cat, that there is carvings and engravings of scales of justice and a sword in the stone as an allusion to the traditional imagery that shows in the justice card.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, the feather of how do you say it? I usually say Mayat, but
yeah, I usually say mat. Yes, yeah.
Mat. So yeah, this is beautiful. Moving on, we have the hanged one.
Yes, the hanged one. So the hanged one. So I did not want it is a cat. I didn't want the cat to actually be physically hanging out in the water or otherwise suspended in a way that would be painful or frightening for a cat. But you can see here, this cat is intrigued, right? So this cat is already in a place that's, there is, perhaps some, discomfort and balance happening there because, they may have used that column off to the left to jump onto the swing, but they are literally being suspended in space, and they're looking down into this mystical glowing thing under the water, and it's captured their attention, and they need to make a choice about whether they're going to investigate it or not, and what that's going to mean for them. So it kind of speaks to the mythos that surrounds the hanged one in terms of sacrificed gods, and getting a fresh perspective. And when we don't just usually magically get fresh perspective, we usually have to put in specific intentionality or effort to do that. We have to put ourselves into a situation we might not otherwise. So that's is speaking to that.
Yeah. Putting ourselves into an uncomfortable situation quite often is what the hanged one is saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's a place where you wouldn't normally or typically go. That's the place you perhaps need to go here in order to gain that enlightenment, or just navigate that situation, or do whatever it is that you need to do that they're talking to you about.
Yeah.
Kind of like how this cat is swinging from a tree and is just this close to water, which we know that quite often cats find quite distressing. So yeah, putting yourself in an uncomfortable situation. I love the colours in this as well. That water is an absolutely beautiful kind of
Isn't it?
like Viridian, or I don't know what the correct, just like a kind of an aquamarine type colour,
Yeah.
and offset against those purple mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. We love it. Okay, the death card.
So, I will say this card was extremely emotional to create, and anyone who has loved anyone and lost anyone, will resonate with that. And I will say the death card is always uncomfortable, and and yet we do experience endings, any kind of ending or loss or grief in life. It's natural and it's important for us to allow ourselves to experience that grief, but this was really, really hard to create this card. And yet I also wanted to show that, because I personally, I do not believe that life ends when physically we or anyone else, in our lives passes. I really don't believe that it's just over. I believe that we exist in a different way. We exist spiritually. That spiritual part of ourselves never ends, right? I really believe there's a whole spiritual world around us all the time. Most of us have just forgotten how to see it and engage with it. But I didn't want to shy away from the pain and loss of grief, because we all experience it, right? We've all experienced it. If we haven't at this point in our lives, we will at some point. It is painful and it's heartbreaking. And I also wanted to honor that, because for anyone who has lost someone that you love, whether it's a cat or whether it's a human or whether it's anyone else or anything else, even if you've lost, something else in your life that isn't a personality, right? If you've lost a career, if you've lost your home, if you've lost these other things, that is still, our brains don't actually know the difference. All they know is that we're grieving and that it's awful and that it feels like there isn't hope. And so I didn't want to shy away from that in this card. I wanted to show that there is hope, there is beauty, that there is beauty beyond what we may currently see.
Yeah.
And I really do also believe that these little animals, they do go on. They do go on. They don't just cease to exist, and they also come back to visit us, by the way. Just for anyone who who wonders about that, I really do believe that they do.
Yeah, that is absolutely stunning. But it's so I'm one of these people who, I can I feel as though I've got a softer spot for animals than what I have for humans a lot of the time, and
Right.
I don't want that to sound horrible. I don't mean that in a
No.
bad way. I just mean like there's just something like if I see, I can look at 100 Ten of Swords cards, right?
Mhm.
And they don't kind of a like water off a duck's back, but like looking at this card, it's a whole different story. Um, so yeah, it's absolutely stunning, and it was a really kind of I know how much strength that took from you to create that card, Malumir.
Oh yeah. I mean,
And I
you
think it
know
was
the
really
year
brave
that
of
I
you.
the
Yeah,
year that I
I
had. I
do.
mean, for people who are not aware, so our cats are our babies. Like, we don't have human children. We have our little furry ones, and they are our babies. And we lost, we lost all three of the ones we had at the time in 8 months, two due to different kinds of cancer, and then one due to very ancient age. And so I didn't know how I was going to be able to get through what it took to create the card. I mean, thank goodness I didn't have to create the art. I don't know how I would have been able to do that. I'm so grateful that Ella, was so able to expertly honor all the energy and emotion that goes into a card like this. But the whole process, it was a really hard card to create. But you know what? Tarot is also meant to be there with us in all of our moments, including our hardest ones.
Yeah,
Um, and it's as impactful to create a tarot deck and have to go through the entire range of emotions that the deck brings us through in order to create it.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, on to the Temperance card.
Yes.
I love the colors in this card.
Thank you. Yes. The Temperance card here, there are, if you look at it closely, there are 2 water faucets, and they're like those old school water faucets for folks who, may have used those old school sinks where there is a different water faucet for the hot water and the cold water, and they each have their own handle. And so this cat is balancing on this fountain that has these water faucets, and the cat is balancing perfectly. And I think it gets at the idea that balance, people often refer to, just balance it all, have a nice work-life balance. But balance is a very active thing. There's nothing passive about balancing, even from an anatomical perspective. Our bodies have to work very actively to balance, and especially with cats. And so this speaks to those ideas, but I also wanted to give an homage to the Temperance card that also speaks to alchemy, right? And the idea of things that may seem, they're base elements, the things that may seem really simple or seem uncomplicated can combine in miraculous and wonderful ways to create, beautifully complex outcomes.
I don't know about anybody else, right? But the Temperance card for me has always been the kind of a calling me out card. It's always been the kind of like, right, come on, have a bit of common sense, or, come on, like, why are you getting that result? Well, have you really thought it through? Have you? And I don't know if anyone can see the absolute filthy side eye that this cat is given in this card. I just think it's absolutely brilliant. That this is a Temperance card that I'm not really big on Temperance cards usually because of that very reason, but the fact that this is so blatantly given a like,
yeah, the
come
cat is
on
making
now.
direct eye contact. The cat is making a point here.
Yeah, like serious side eye.
Yeah,
I'm loving
yeah. And it's a Siamese cat, so they mean business.
it. Okay.
Okay. This is one of the cards where it printed super, super dark in this prototype. The cards have since been brightened, and particularly, you see where those sparks are going down where the kittens are, the sparks that kind of lead them through an archway. That's actually a pathway. And so just to clarify for folks, that pathway has been lightened, and all the dark colors have been brightened for the final. So it will be much more clear. But here you can see there's this terrifying eagle and these 2 terrified tiny little kittens who are just frozen in fear. And, but the eagle is actually being distracted, right? There's an illusion taking place. And the devil card so often speaks to illusion, but, I wanted to show that the cats are not actually as trapped as they believe themselves to be, right? These little sparks are showing them the way to safety away from the eagle, while the eagle is also being distracted by this tasty looking fish that is actually just an illusion. And, but I also wanted to leave in enough, what's the word? Like, it's not super clear where the sparks, are the sparks from the cats? Are the sparks from the universe? Are the sparks from the eagle? Is there is there reverse psychology happening here? There's enough going on in the card that, when folks are using it for reading, the way that they interpret it will be the way that they need to, right? I've left enough space in how it's been created to allow for that.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, because I was going to say, like, when I first looked at this, I thought, oh, those clever wee kittens, they're creating this illusion to distract eagle, so as that they can escape, they can make their getaway. That's how I saw it, just because the sparks are around the kittens,
Yep.
and obviously this illusion is composed of sparks. So no, yeah, that's really cool. I want to apologise to folks because I know that my hand is getting more and more unsteady. So I'm kind of trying to go between putting it on the table and holding it up so that you can actually see it properly and appreciate the colours. But I know that my hand's not the steadiest just now. Um, but I mean, I have to hand it to you, Malumir, and we're going to see this in the next card as well. Like sometimes when you think, oh, like the chakra healing tarot, like chakra and healing, and like the cat aura tarot, cat and aura. When we hear words like that, sometimes our first thought is, right, okay, well this is going to be quite a soft deck. It's not going to be very hard hitting. It might be quite a kind of a feel good deck. But my goodness, like the difficult cards, the cards that are meant to be tough and challenging in this deck that we've seen so far, they really are. Like you've managed to create something that feels authentic and that feels in keeping with the themes of the deck. But like that death card, I think it just touched about everybody's heart.
Yeah.
That this card is like almost like terrifying. The
Yeah.
fact that we've got this eagle there. And then I mean, let me just move on to the next card. Look at that tree. I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh, and a minor technical piece here. The cats, their tails have also been revised in the final version, so that their tails are like, when cats are scared, their tails go ving, and they look like a bottle brush, like their tails suddenly stick out. The tail has been revised to look like that, just to clarify for folks.
right. Okay. But yeah, that tree is beautiful, and I can see a face. These look like eyes to me, so I can see a face in that tree. I don't know if anybody else agrees.
Well,
Um,
yeah, and I mean your point, Chris, is such a good one, because, and this is something that it's really important to me. Like, this is actually feedback I received from Chakra Healing Tarot, because I had referred to it, as a gentle deck, but the feedback that I received was, whew, I don't know how gentle it is. It's a very honest deck. And I realized, okay, so maybe I didn't show, anyone, bloodied and bruised in Chakra Healing Tarot. But I also didn't shy away from these difficult things. And it's the same thing with Cat Aura Tarot, because as you say, we the tarot is meant to be able to reflect what we're experiencing in life. And, I'm sure we've all had the experience of, we've gone through something hard, we told someone about it, and they invalidated us, right? They had a response that, was, oh, well, at least you blah, 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 or, oh, just keep being strong, you'll be fine, or, other things that are maybe intended to be helpful, but actually really invalidate our experience. And sometimes, we really need to be validated. We need somebody or a tool like the tarot to say, you know what? I get it. The thing that you're going through, yes, your world has just blown up. You thought you were safe in this like lovely little, nook that you were sleeping in, but then lightning hit this tree and it's blown up and it's turned upside down. Or, or like with the devil card, that yes, this sucks. You are in a situation where there is actual risk, there's threat, and there's tough things. And so it was really important to me to not shy away from that, and to give people the space to be seen and heard in the deck. And while also, though, the guidebook is supportive of people, like, of what you're going through, to further, guide your intuition.
yeah, definitely. You're so right in what you say, and I think quite often, like probably more often than not, people are trying to be supportive.
Yeah.
But like I'm saying people in the third person, like I'm totally innocent of this. I'm really not. Like sometimes people just don't know what the best thing to say, or they want to be supportive, or they want to say something to make you feel better. I think probably for most people, that's their go-to. Like the first thing that comes to their mind is what can I say that will make this person feel better? Um, and that's when the whole, oh, like maybe it's not so bad, or you're going to be fine. That's when these responses kind of come to mind, but quite often they can have the opposite effect as what was maybe intended. So I totally get that.
I think sometimes also, and it's quite natural. I think sometimes people are also, they're afraid of the feelings in themselves, right? They're afraid of facing uncomfortable things, even within themselves. And sometimes when you see someone else going through something hard, it can, unconsciously make you reflect on how that would feel in your own life. And so, I think, yeah, people, they generally have best of intentions. But coupled with I don't know what to say, and and then their own experience and maybe unprocessed shadow aspects, combined with just wanting to say something, can often result in that. So people I think I think they will feel seen by this deck.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's move on to beautiful star card.
Yes.
Okay, so talk us through this, Malumir. What am I seeing here?
So you notice that, so the little cat sitting at the top on the at the pool of water, that's a little kitten who's looking up at the stars and dreaming big. And then you can see in the reflection, it's actually a full-grown cat who is confident. And that cat is quite comfortable and fully grown and has achieved all those dreams that little kitten is sitting there aspiring toward.
Yeah, that's really beautiful.
And so in this, I wanted to show the Milky Way. Like there's that's the Milky Way that's showing in the sky. I deliberately did not write the description to have a single star because I think sometimes, and I love star cards, right? They're so filled with inspiration and, reminders to keep dreaming. But I wanted the star of the star card to be this little kitten and the full grown cat reflection. Because I really wanted to help people hone into, what is it that you aspire to, right? What really lights you up inside? What helps you to feel aligned and grounded in all that you want to be?
Yeah, beautiful. Next, we have the moon card.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of reflections happening in this in this card.
Yeah.
So I know that, astrologically, sometimes we refer to the moon as a luminary, but, we also all understand that, the moon is not making its own light, but rather reflecting light. And so to amplify the kind of, because sometimes, the moon card, it can speak to uncertainty and sometimes, sometimes even misdirections and lack of clarity that we are, when we're going through times of uncertainty. So not only is the moon reflecting light, but we're also seeing the reflection of the moon, and the cat in the scene is not looking at the physical moon. The cat is looking at the reflection of the moon. And so in that way, I wanted it to be a really gentle reminder of when you're going through times of uncertainty, how can you hone in on what you know to be true about yourself and your surroundings? Like, how can you find those key pieces so that you make sure that you are at least headed in the direction of where you want to go, and that you're not just following other, misdirections or other reflections of reality, but rather reality.
Yeah, definitely. We can see that we see it in the waterfall. I think maybe most clearly I suppose in the moon itself, because the moon is obviously has this beautiful texture to it, and we
Mhm.
see the texture is
Yes,
reversed just
that's
as
right.
the waterfall is reversed in the reflection.
That's right.
So it's that way, it's the mirror image type idea.
That's right.
And obviously with the moon reflecting the sun's light, that it's the whole idea of the moon can be a deceptive light. But I often think, you know, with that kind of a thing, context is everything. So what, for example, if you have, I don't know, taken an extended afternoon nap, you went to sleep when it's daytime and you wake up and it's nighttime and all you're seeing is the moon's light, you're like, oh my goodness,
Yeah,
like what has happened here? You
yeah,
know, on the flip side, if it's like, I don't know, pitch black, and then all of a sudden you've got the light from the moon, then that's quite a welcome light, you
yes,
know? So the
yes,
context is everything,
it is.
and I think that's kind of a quite key to remember often when the moon card comes up is look at it in the the context of the question and what you're actually looking at.
Yes, because sometimes
Um,
that is the only light that is being shed on a situation, right? Sometimes we
yeah,
don't have the option to turn on the floodlights, right? Sometimes we just have to work with what we've got, and that's the best that we can do at that time.
yeah. And am I right in saying like we're used to seeing ourselves reflected? So we don't.
Mhm.
Or am I getting
No,
mixed up? But we don't see ourselves as other people see us, do we? We're
y-
used to seeing our
yes,
reflections. So
yes,
um, I guess just
exactly.
think on that when it comes when you're thinking about the cards, as a card about self reflection and things like that.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
think on that.
yep. And
Um,
you can see the reflection of the cat's face in the mirror as an homage to that very concept.
yeah, beautiful. Okay. Next, we've got the lovely Sun card.
Yes.
Um, Excuse
So
me,
this
my voice just broke there. But yeah, the Sun card.
So this sun card, this is a sun card where the sun itself does not feature prominently, but its effects do, right? So the sun is obviously coming in from the upper right, and it is streaming these warm rays of lovely, nourishing light on this cat who is happily preening away, in this lovely, meadow of flowers. And um, this was a similar concept to the idea of the star where I wanted the cat and its experience here in the sunlight to kind of be the main character, less about the sun being the main character, right? Because I think commonly in RWS type sun cards, the sun itself features very prominently as a main character. um, so in this case, the sun is definitely there, but its effects and what it's
Yeah,
creating that were really important in this one.
definitely. And not just the sun's rays, but I mean the beautiful tree or the beautiful forest of trees really that we're seeing.
Yes.
Like trees
Yeah.
are a a physical embodiment of the sun's power. Trees
Yes.
they feed off the sun,
Photosynthesis. Yes.
photosynthesis. Um, so I mean they are the sun's kind of a energy manifest into something physical.
Yes.
Just as the card itself is, I suppose. So yeah, no, it's beautiful, and I love the beautiful colours in the grass and the flowers and stuff like that as well. I think Ella's done a stunning job on this one.
Yes, she has.
Okay, tell me about the judgment card.
Yes. So this judgment card, so the main cat in this card is perched on top of this statue. The statue, I asked Ella to create it in a way that it's not actually immediately obvious what it is or was. And that is deliberate. Because I want the focus to be on the cat and the scene, but I still wanted an homage to the idea of uh of like when we have memorial stones, or those other kind of pieces that speak to um that speak to what we might think of in the traditional judgment card of, people coming out of coffins, people raising from the dead. So it kind of speaks to that kind of epitaph kind of idea. While in the field, yes, and thank you for showing the close-up, you can see other creatures, right? There's bunnies, there's ducks, there's other cats. So all these other creatures are below in this beautiful blooming field. And then we have this cat up on top of this statue, under this glowing, glorious, dawning sun, with a butterfly about to land on its nose. And so I wanted to get at the idea of like all the ideas that are kind of held within judgment, getting to the idea of of uh, of recognition, right? So recognition by others, but also of self, the transformation that often comes with that. And, the butterfly speaking to, deep spiritual awakening or other very significant aha moments that we have in life. And sometimes in those, we've come through we've come through hell and back, and then we suddenly have the aha moment that transmutes so much of the energy that we've been through, and brings a new dawning day with it. But I wanted the statue to have wings because I kind of wanted to hint at the idea of, the angel in the traditional RWS emerging from the sky. But, not being clear about necessarily what kind of creature it was.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the film The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the Narnia
Yes,
film?
I have. Yes.
So in that film, and I know the story or the mythology, or whatever you want to call it, it's kind of a Christian parallel, Christian based, but
Mhm.
there's the whole thing about the stone table breaking. And that's, I think, when Arslan, the majestic lion, who's like the lion of the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, um, that's somehow to do with him
It
resurrecting or
breaks the
coming back
spell.
to life.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
basically it
yeah.
breaks the curse, it breaks the spell, and everyone is freed. Yes.
Mhm. And I'm just looking at, I mean, obviously the idea of that we normally associate with judgment, as we, lots of us see these people being resurrected and stuff. And it was just that popped into my head because this does look like a stone statue that's kind of a crack that's broken. So just that kind of a big moment almost just popped into my head for that reason.
I love it. I love that.
But yeah, beautiful. And then as our final major card, we have the world.
Yes, the world. And I didn't mention it earlier if I forgot, but the some of my cats took off and gallivanted off into the deck. So this is my Eli, because Eli was my world. And so now he is he's in the world card, and like that sense of completion and wholeness and beauty of of having gone through everything you've gone through to reach the world card, and the beauty that you find on the other end. And it's not showing so well on the screen, but the colors in this card are vibrant, right? Like they're really vibrant. Like the sky is, like cotton candy colors, against that rainbow in the background. And all of the various worlds are also reflected here, right? Because this bridge was clearly crafted that way, and it's hard to tell, but there's actually also a little homage to the world card, like there's a little carved wreath, an infinity sign that's in the underneath the cat on the bridge, on the side of the bridge. So there's little Easter eggs like that, so to speak, throughout. But this bridge is obviously not naturally occurring. This was part of those sacred temple grounds. But you can also see below, the water and the water and the rocks, that there are entrances to grottos down there. While we also have all this beautiful water and the sky and the mountains and the meadows, so it captures all of those different worlds together in a single card.
Yeah, beautiful. Something else that I notice as well, and I'm comparing this to the full card here, but so if I put these two side by side, I mean, I could almost see this as being
the other side.
Almost, exactly,
exactly.
So, quite often, and you've probably heard me saying this, Malumir, because you've heard me read for the world card. But to me, quite often, what the world card is like this. It's like the full kind of a realization. It's like it's like the climax. It's like the finish. It's like it's telling me you're right where you need to be. You've got everything that you need. It's such an amazing card that I quite often find it really hard to put into words that what it's getting at. So and we can obviously see that here. But with this full almost showing it from the other side, it's like not only do you have everything that you need, but you had it all along. You just needed to kind of learn it and realize it for yourself
and get through the journey, right? That's exactly it. We so often I truly and firmly and utterly believe that each of us has all of the inner resources and strengths and abilities that we need to create beauty and connection and satisfaction and joy in our lives. I firmly believe that. And that's exactly right, Chris, right? It really shows that, you've come all this way. You always had it all together, but maybe you just needed, some time on this journey to connect in with those aspects of yourself.
Yeah. Maybe you just actually needed to learn to see yourself, self-awareness. You needed to gain that self-awareness and actually, see yourself for who you are. And, so we start off there and we end up here. Yeah, love it. Love it. Right. Malumir, time-wise, we are on 22:37. So we've been going for an hour and 40 minutes. So I just wanted to check in with you, see how we're doing. What are you thinking with regards to looking at the minors? Are you wanting to? Well, you tell me. How are you doing just now?
I'm probably pretty close to timing out myself. But maybe I'm just trying to think of the best way to go about it. I wonder if, I don't know, what do you think? Like a really quick flip through of these, or I don't know, what do you think?
Well,
like without me talking, because that'll take like 5 hours.
Yeah. So what we could do is I mean, I'm putting you on the spot here because we've not discussed this at all before. So apologies for that, but we could even come back and do another live on the minors if you wanted.
Maybe let's do
whilst
that.
We're chatting, I'll happily flip through them.
That's a great idea. Yeah, Chris, I feel like that would be great because I could really use a bit of a rest at this point. And I love the idea of also being able to give them, because the minors are just as important as the majors. Because I know that often people think of the majors as the major things that happen in our lives, and the minors are kind of the everyday things. But the reality is that our larger story plot is made up. Sorry, Gabriel is hearing a neighbor come home. Thank you for telling me. Thank you. Yes, our neighbor's allowed to come and go. But you know, our lives are made up of our everyday smaller plot points as well, and so those, you know, the minors matter just as much as the majors to me. So yes, I would so love to come back and be able to you know, to honor the minors by talking through them. We'll just have to talk a little less about them though, because there's obviously more minors than there are majors. But I would love that.
That sounds really good. I think that would be good. I want to say that you know, we're able to pre-order the deck. Malumir, do you want to tell us where we can pre-order it? And I'll, in the background, I'll pop the link in the chat.
That would be great. Yes. So people can find out all about the deck on my website, acornandburdock.ca. There is, when you go to the website, you'll see there's a tab that has all the information about the deck. I also wanted to talk briefly about my local Humane Society. So our local Humane Society, they are, you know, they're the only local shelter, and they take in every animal who is sent their way. What it means is they are drastically over capacity. They're way, way over capacity, and cats make up the majority of the animals in their care. And you know, between the demand and inflation, which has just been absolutely wild for everyone, the past year especially, their operating costs have shot through the roof while also trying to care for more animals. So I am donating a portion of every pre-order deck to the Humane Society, because even though I personally make a donation every month, I really wanted to find a way of also supporting them through this. So that's also all on the information page. But back to the tarot nerdy stuff. All the deck specifications are on the information page. Sorry, I get very passionate about helping these little souls. So all of the deck specifications and the card stock and all of that is all on that information page, as well as talking about the different worlds that each of the suits takes place in, and it shows, you know, close-ups of the back, the card backs. There's a bunch of Q's and A's if you have questions. There's a bunch of FAQs there, as well as the link to pre-order. And I said earlier that, you know, creators always be creating. And for people who have followed me for a while, you'll know that I love using pendulums. I'm a big fan of pendulums. I've used them for as long as I can remember. And, you know, I thought to myself, earlier this year, I was like, you know what? I've never come across a cat pendulum where the cat is the base of the pendulum that swings. And so I was like, you know what? Darn it. I'm going to create one. Why not? I'm going to create it, and I'm going to make it my dream pendulum, which means I also have to put the chakra beads on it. And so I did it. I created this, my dream pendulum. It's a cat pendulum. So that's also on the website. And I've got other little bundles, so if someone doesn't have chakra healing tarot and they want to get that at the same time, I've got bundles, so folks can check that out. And also something that's more time sensitive people may want to be aware of is that I actually have special pricing on the deck, on all the bundles, on the whole shop until November 23rd. So that's for pre-orders. That's for ordering items that are already, in existence and can be shipped right away. So it's on the whole shop. So folks should definitely go check that out, if you want to take advantage.
Amazing. I was trying to show people a picture because I've got the website in front of me here. and I was trying to show people the picture of the cat pendulum online. I was trying to switch to my
Oh,
screen,
and it wasn't letting you show?
no, so that, in case anyone was wondering, whilst Malumir was speaking there, why my screen was just going black, it's because I was trying to show you my screen, but it's not wanting to play the game, and I don't want you to be fumbling about trying to do it
Fair enough.
once I've got you all there. So, but yeah, I'll put a link to Malumir's website in the chat. Just click on it and have a look through, have a read through the information. It's a really pretty website to look at, actually.
Oh, thank you.
But
That's so kind.
no, that's okay. And yeah, there's like really kind of a clear information about all the products that Malumir has available. Yeah, just a really accessible kind of a space. So definitely go on and at least have a look through the stuff that Malumir's got on there, and definitely consider consider pre-ordering a copy of Cat Aura Tarot. And Malumir, tell us again, what is that deadline date? When are people able to get the early bird offer until, or is there a date?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So it's an early bird pre-order special that's happening right now until November 23rd, which is rapidly approaching. So it's November 23rd. So I believe for the Americans on the call, I believe that is your American Thanksgiving. We already had our Thanksgiving, and we're having our Remembrance Day actually this coming Saturday. But yes, it's November 23rd is the deadline to get in on locking in your savings.
So get in there before the 23rd of November, folks. Okay.
Yeah.
So Malumir, that just leaves me to say thank you so much to you for coming on with me and for taking the time to talk to us about your lovely creation. I appreciate any time that I get to spend with you, catching up with you just generally, but I really do love just geeking out with you about tarot, and I particularly love when I get to talk to someone about something that they've created. So it's been an absolute honour. Thank you so much for doing this, and for taking the time to speak to us today.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for having me on. And I'm really excited to be able to come back and talk about the miners. That'll be fun.
Cool. So Malumir, so you just saw it live. I put Malumir on the spot. So we don't have a date set for that, but we will do it as soon as we can, I think.
Yes.
Because we want to try and kind of do it before the early bird offer finishes,
Yeah,
I think.
sure.
But Malumir and I will have a chat behind the scenes, and we'll try and put together a date, and I will let you all know when that's happening as soon as I know. So I've just said Jamie, or my lovely wee Jamie, she's just popped in and said hi. So hi, Jamie.
Hi,
She's going to
Jamie.
catch us on the playback. I was going to say that. I just wanted to quickly shout out again. Tomorrow is my usual Thursday live, and Simon and I are doing a joint live. We're doing a Cartomancy Cave throwback Thursday on the Morgan Greer. So you'll catch me again tomorrow, both here on my channel and also on the Hermit's Cave. Will be kind of a what's the phrase that everybody's using these days? Simul streaming. I can't remember, but basically streaming across both channels.
Yeah.
So thanks so much, everyone. It's been lovely to see you all. Thanks again, Malumir. Take care, everyone, and we shall catch you all soon.
Bye, everyone.